Hi, real quick before we start, I want to announce that a new chapter of my webcomic, My Next Door Neighbors, has been posted to my webcomic channel. Link in the description. Okay, now on to the video. Hello everyone! In this week's video, I'm going to draw my original characters into anime scenes. This is something that several of you have suggested and I thought it sounded like a lot of fun. So I could have chosen just whatever anime and then drew my OCs into them. But I wanted to try to find anime that kind of matched with my OC's hobbies, personalities, or interests. So yeah, I tried to find anime that kind of matched my original characters. The first idea I had was drawing my original character Chase from my webcomic My Next Door Neighbors into the anime The Prince of Tennis because Chase plays tennis. So after searching through multiple episodes, I found this scene. The camera kind of zooms in or out, I don't remember, as the scene goes on. I needed to be able to see more of the body for Chase, so I took another screenshot in the same scene when it's a bit more zoomed out. And I'll be using Viper as my base, since he's tall. I used the liquify tool to change the proportions a little bit. I wanted Chase to be, not as wide, I guess, or more lanky. Viper looks really big next to the main character, Echizen. When I searched his height, he's like 5'6". Chase is a little over 5'8", so he is taller. So now I turn off the screenshot layer, lower the opacity of my base, and start drawing over the base. I do this so I don't draw on my style and instead draw closer to the style of the show. In this case, the styles are pretty different. I find it a little funny how old the characters look in this anime because they're all in middle school. Viper is a second year, so he's like 13 or 14, but he kind of looks old for a 13 or 14-year-old. The second years are only a year older than Echizen and the other first years, but they look so much bigger and older. So Chase is 15, so I made him a third year, and the third years in this anime look like they are in their late teens. And Chase ends up looking like he's nearly 20 or in his early 20s. After working on this, I felt like Chase looked like a baby in my style. He looks so tiny compared to how I drew him here. So if you don't know, The Prince of Tennis is a sports anime that aired in the early 2000s. I actually watched quite a lot of this anime. I watched almost the entire first part of it. But I stopped watching it because I think YouTube didn't have all of the episodes or something. I also read a lot of the manga, but my library was having a hard time getting all the volumes. So yeah, I've never fully watched the anime or read the manga because it's a pretty long series, and I was having a hard time finding the content as a little 15-year-old. But I was a really big fan of the show, and sometimes I do still want to try to go back and watch it. I really like sports anime. It's kind of funny because I was telling my sister about how they should remake The Prince of Tennis because it'd be cool to see it with the kind of animation quality we have now. And when my sister was searching the show on Google, she found that they are going to be making a new season or something, or some kind of spin-off series or something. Or it's going to be covering a different arc in the manga, I'm not sure. But it's really cool. Now I feel like I need to go back and watch the show even more. For filling in the base colors, it was kind of funny because I was using this image as a reference and also grabbing colors from it, but it turns out the colors in the promo art and the colors in the scene don't match. Like the blues for the jacket are different and the skin tones are different. I was okay with Chase's skin being more pink because I imagine he has a more pink skin tone instead of an olive skin tone, and many of the characters' skin tones vary from character to character. Also, I noticed when I was looking at other characters, they had their shirt buttoned up. Viper didn't, so that's how I sketched it, but Chase would have his shirt buttoned up, so I kind of painted over a collar onto the shirt. For the shading, I was a bit surprised by how much shading there was. This may be due to the fact that the last video I did in the series was a Disney one, and I don't have to do much shading when it comes to Disney screenshot edits, so it was kind of weird needing to do a lot of shading again. For some reason, I was trying to think back on who my favorite character was, and if I remember right, I think I had two equal favorite characters, and they were Fuji and Momoshiro. I don't totally remember why I liked them, but I did. Of course, I liked Echizen too. I always thought he was really cool. But I remember specifically liking Fuji and Momoshiro. I actually had a really hard time finding a scene to draw Chase into because a lot of times the camera in the anime is either really zoomed in on the characters or really zoomed out, and I wanted a nice middle point that had an empty spot to place Chase. I was hoping for a cooler scene or something more dynamic, but I settled for this. Something that is tricky about older anime is making my art look lower res or like it's also old. So what I did is I shrunk down my art and then I made it large again. This makes it a little bit pixely, and then I blurred it out. And ta-da! Here is my OC Chase in the Prince of Tennis. Viper and Echizen are having a stare down, and Chase is questioning if he should do something about it or if he should just leave it alone. He just doesn't want them to fight. So for this next one, I was questioning if I could fit my OC's Faith or Brayson into anything because they are into music. Faith likes to sing and play piano. Brayson likes to create music and can play the guitar and piano. I was thinking about this for a really long time, and all of a sudden I remembered about an anime from the depths of my mind, and it was the shoujo anime Anonymous Noise. I had totally forgotten about this anime. This is the screenshot I chose, and as you can see, the characters are in a band, so it fits what I was wanting. For my base, I took another screenshot a few seconds before when the character was in a different pose. My plan is to have Brayson be standing behind the characters. Right now I'm outlining them with a red pen so I know where I need to stop sketching. So I was going to start drawing over the base, but this character's facial features are very different from Brayson's. He has very large eyes that are taller than they are wide, so these don't quite work for Brayson. So I searched Google to find a different character from this anime that I could use, and I found this character, and this seemed like a better match. So I put his head on the other person's body. Once again, this would sound very strange out of context. You may have noticed I'm not saying any of the characters' names. Maybe I'll put some text for their names when I'm editing or something. But the reason for that is that I don't remember like anything about this anime, and the reason is that when I watched this anime I had to binge watch it, and when I binge watch things I tend to not remember them. So I binge watched this anime because when it came out, Amazon was trying to have its own streaming service called Anime Strike. It didn't last for very long, but basically they were the only site that had this anime, and I was too cheap to pay for the service. So I waited until all the episodes were out and then did the free trial so I could watch the anime without needing to pay. But I had to binge watch the anime during my free trial. So yeah, now I don't remember anything. And thankfully now I have Amazon Prime and the anime is on Amazon Prime. So I was able to get a screenshot for this video. I do remember it was a fairly cute shoujo anime, but I felt like the ending wasn't super satisfactory, but I don't actually remember how it ended. I think I was hoping it would get a season 2, but it didn't or something. I always quite liked the style. The eyes are interesting and I like how fluffy the hair is. Also, the manga was released in America. I have the first 2 volumes, however, because it's about music, I was having a hard time getting into the manga because you can't hear anything. The characters have to describe what it sounds like instead of you hearing it, but maybe I'll give it another try sometime. Also, I decided to choose Brayson instead of Faith because I felt like Faith's bright pink hair would stand out a lot, whereas Brayson's black hair would fit right in. Plus, I kind of just wanted to draw Brayson because I like drawing him. One thing I was happy about is that because Brayson is behind the characters, I hardly had to draw the guitar. I only had to draw a little bit of it, and that made me very happy because drawing guitars are kind of hard. They have a lot of details. So now I'm on to the shading, and honestly this part was pretty tricky. The reason is because of the white gradient and light that's being applied to the characters. It was making it hard for me to select colors and know what colors I should use. I also need to add the white to Brayson and the lighting along the edges of him to make him match. But once I do that, the colors still need to match up, but they're different once I add the lighting. So yeah, it was tricky. I kind of just played around with the colors until they felt okay or matched. I definitely had to play around with it a lot. If you normally watch my videos, you are probably expecting me to draw Doris into an anime. But this time around, I wanted to let some of my other OCs be in the spotlight because I draw Doris pretty often. So there will be no Doris this time around. I do find it a little funny that I chose Chase and Brayson kind of on accident. It just kind of ended up that way. If you don't know, they are ex-stepbrothers, and there's a whole thing between them. So yeah, they're ex-stepbrothers, but I kind of still feel like they're normal brothers, and that's kind of what their relationship is like. They kind of just act like brothers. Anyways, here's Brayson in Anonymous Noise. I feel like he fits in pretty well with the band, but Brayson definitely prefers working solo. So for at least one of the screenshots, I wanted to edit in an OC that's not from my webcomic, My Next Door Neighbors. I thought it would be fun to include Anne or Aiden from my first comic, but I wasn't sure what to draw them in. I actually questioned my Twitter followers what anime I should draw my OCs into, and a few of them wanted to see My Hero Academia, and many of you have been wanting to see me do My Hero Academia again. If you want to see the first time I drew myself into it, you can watch this video. So yeah, I chose My Hero Academia even though I don't really watch the show, but I thought Aiden would fit in really well with it. Also, like I said, I don't really watch the show. It's a little too violent for me, so I'm not gonna know all of the names and stuff. Sorry. Anyways, I found this scene in like episode 6, I think. I wanted a scene that included characters in their hero outfits because last time I did a scene where they were in their school uniforms. To make my base, I'm going to take some characters from 2 different scenes. I'm going to use the body of this bird guy. I always think he looks really cool, by the way. I really like bird characters, so I think he's really cool. But this guy's head isn't gonna work for Aiden, so I'm gonna take this guy's head. I just place them together to make a new base and place it in between Deku. And I know this girl's name, but I'm not going to say it because a lot of people got annoyed with me for saying it wrong last time. And I still don't totally know how to say it, even though you all explained it to me. So now I'm drawing Aiden. I'll tell you a bit about him since I imagine many of you have not read my first comic, I Want to Be a Magical Girl. So Aiden is 15. He isn't super expressive, so he might come off as mean or serious, but he's really observant and kind. Also, he has lightning powers. He can absorb and store static electricity and then shoot it out as kind of like a lightning bolt. How much static electricity he absorbs can depend on air humidity and what clothes he's wearing. The outfit he wears in my comic is a black wool turtleneck and wool pants. Wool is great at making static electricity, so that's why he wears those. It usually takes a while for enough static electricity to build up for him to be able to make a bolt that he can shoot out. That's why you don't see him use it super often in my comic. I think he only shoots a lightning bolt like 2 or 3 times. I've mentioned this in other videos, but if I were to make my first comic now, it'd be very different. I would have put more thought into things. I was only 17 when I started it, and if I were to like make it now, I would add a lot more to Aiden's powers. Maybe he could also control electrons or things like that. Also, his outfit is super basic. And because his outfit's basic, I was thinking maybe I should change his outfit up and try to make it more interesting for this screenshot, because the other 2 characters look really interesting and Aiden's just in a black turtleneck. So to try to make the outfit more interesting, I thought maybe I could make it look like spiky or furry. I didn't want to change it too much, but maybe make it a bit more interesting. So yeah, that's what I did when I was doing the line art. But I ended up not liking this at all. Oh, also I had to draw around all of the subtitles. That was really tedious. Sometimes I'll turn the subtitles off when I'm grabbing screenshots, but in this case I didn't, so I had to draw around the subtitles. Anyways, yeah, I did not like this new sweater. It just kept making me think of like Donkey Kong for some reason. I especially didn't like it when I was trying to fill in the base colors. It just didn't feel like Aiden would wear that. So I went back and changed it to just his normal sweater. But I did change the outfit a little. Instead of black, I did a dark gray. And I also added a green lightning bolt onto the sweater to add a little bit more green into his design because he has green eyes. Looking back, I think I'd make his eyes like yellow just to match the electricity theme. Oh, funny story, I actually didn't decide Aiden's eye color until I was working on the colored art for the cover of the book. The book was in black and white, so I never thought of his colors until I had to color him, and I randomly chose green. I was just like, what colors do I make his eyes? Well, green seems nice, so I'll go with that. One thing I did consider is drawing Anne into a magical girl anime because she wants to be a magical girl so her dreams could come true. But I couldn't decide on a magical girl anime. And like I said, I felt like Aiden would fit in well with the My Hero Academia universe. So that's why I chose Aiden. But if I ever do this again, I want to draw Anne into a magical girl anime. I was thinking maybe I could draw her into the new Tokyo Mew Mew that's going to be coming out. Because the style for that looks really cute. So I was wondering how the hair is shaded in My Hero Academia. So I was looking at different characters. And I liked how this character had a unique shape to their hair highlight. It gave me the idea to add a lightning bolt kind of shape to Aiden's hair. Also, later on I decided to Google My Hero Academia electric character to see if there was a character with electric powers, and apparently this one does, and he has a lightning bolt in his hair. I promise I was not trying to copy that, it was pure coincidence. I'm just trying to make Aiden not be so basic. Also, you might be wondering why I'm ranting about Aiden being basic when Chase and Brayson are also pretty basic. It's because Aiden has like a superpower and he was from like a superhero story. So I feel like his outfit should have been more interesting. Whereas like Brayson and Chase are just normal teenage boys that go to school and stuff. So I feel like it's okay for them to look normal. But like Aiden has superpowers and stuff. So I feel like I could have made him more interesting. Also, I felt so stupid. I did not notice that the characters were leaning on this railing right here. So it doesn't make sense for Aiden to be right there. And I started to panic a bit. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to start all over. But then I was like, wait, I can just edit in some railing in front of him and have him be placed behind the rail. So that was my quick fix for that. I'm just happy I noticed that because I probably would have gotten some comments pointing that one out and I would have felt so stupid. Like you can totally tell they're leaning on it if you look at it. I just kept looking at the upper portion of the picture instead of the lower portion and didn't notice they were sitting on the railing. Anyways, here is my OC Aiden in My Hero Academia. I don't draw Aiden very often, so it was a lot of fun drawing him. It was also a lot of fun drawing Chase and Brayson into anime, and I hope you liked watching the process. Before we end, I want to thank my super amazing patrons for supporting my work and this channel. It means so much to me. And thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you all next week in my next video. Bye!